Look, JJ, a flower. Nice, huh? See ya.
And I figured that the $30,000 that we owe you, I'll hustle more than take care of it. Oh, may I buy you a drink? Yes. Cherie! Cherie! Oh, I guess everybody, they seem to be so busy.
That was fun, JJ. Get those guys. You got it. Fly, baby. Fly. Help is on the way. Justice will triumph. Dun, dun, dun.
Sorry there, guys.
Carry on.
Bring it like a son of a bitch over there. You need any help here?
Yes, inject that.
Oh, the plague. I've seen this before.
Oh.
Jackie! JJ! 10 of them.
Hi. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds in his prime. Kicking it with Jackie freaking Chan. Look at him. Hello everyone and welcome to another Fowl Original with me, Fowl Original. Bringing to you the very, very sad news, breaking news that Burt Reynolds, Hollywood icon, is dead at 82. Maybe I should change this to dies. I think it's fine, isn't it? It doesn't feel too disrespectful. R.I.P. Burt Reynolds. Hashtag R.I.P. Bandit. I was always a big fan of Burt Reynolds. Always. For a very, very, very long time. I love Reynolds. I love having the Reynolds mustache. When people used to talk to me about Ryan Reynolds, and they said Reynolds, I would assume that they meant Burt Reynolds at all times. And unfortunately, the news has just broke. I had a different. The reason why this shows a little bit later than it would have been is because I had my initial stories already, and then two big news stories broke, which I felt both required the same amount of focus and the same amount of attention. Also, quick aside, yeah, I want to quickly say hello to anybody who's watching from Newsround, because I found out today, yesterday even, on my Instagram, looking through my Periscopes, that someone is watching this who is actually part of the legit Newsround. This is my interpretation of Newsround, and I hope that I'm not being offensive in that. And yeah, I was like starstruck today. It was very interesting. Anyway, Burt Reynolds, Hollywood icon, dead at 82. And what I want to do is just quickly take you through his life, and just very, very brief. I want to just talk about my my favorite roles from him. Apologies, I've just eaten a whole bag of nuts and fruit and nut mix. It's very, very nice. I don't want you guys to sponsor me, Happy Shopper. Well, if you want it though, that's fine. I'll take you as a sponsor. I'm literally, as I said, I'm happy for any kind of corporate sponsorship whatsoever, because in the interim, for any kind of, if you want to help support the channel, you could, if you want to, go to quick shill, fowloriginal.com. If you go to fowloriginal.com, you can nip down to support the channel. If you go to support the channel, you can then go to my Patreon, or Streamlabs, or of course, easiest way is just to click donate. If you click donate, and I'm sure that any license payer money could happily go here. It'd be awesome. Wink, wink. It blew my mind. I was starstruck when I looked through the people that were watching it. I was like, wow, wow. And they've watched all of them. I was like, wow. I hope I'm being respectful to the name. John Craven, I love you. And you can make it a monthly donation if you want. You can give me $5 if you want. You can make that monthly donation. That comes to me every month. Help support the channel and continue to keep the content going. I was going to say ad-free, but I've got copyright claims on pretty much everything I've done. You can log into PayPal. If you're already logged in, it will let you do it. And you can use a debit or credit card as well if you like. But back to the news of that quick commercial break. I wanted to just quickly read you from Burt Reynolds' Wikipedia, the man, the myth, the legend, Burt Reynolds. So, Burton Leon Reynolds Jr. was born in February 11th, 1936, and unfortunately passed away today, September 6, 2018. He was an American actor, director, and producer. He first rose to prominence, starring in television series such as Gunsmoke, Hawk, and Dan August. His breakout role was as Lewis Medlock in Deliverance. Reynolds played the leading role in a number of box office hits, such as The Longest Yard, original version, not the one with the great Carl Lee. I'm sure Adam Sandler's in that film as well. Smoking the Bandit. Oh, keep it roll, I'll keep on trucking. I don't think it can be done. Until so it roll, I'll keep on trucking. I don't so on bandit run. And then Semi-Tough, Hooper. He's amazing in Hooper. Smoking the Bandit 2, classic. And in the Cannonball Run, he basically plays Smokey from, Bandit from Smokey and the Bandit. And he just plays it with Dom DeLuise, who's one of my comedy idols as well, which you saw in that earlier clip. The big fat guy, Captain Amazo, not Captain Amazo, he's the Big Show from The Waterboy, Captain Insano, and he dresses up as a superhero. And it's a classic film, Cannonball Run 2. It's got Jackie Chan as well. Cannonball Run, and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. After a few box office failures, Reynolds returned to television, starring in the sitcom Evening Shade. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in Boogie Nights. And he is sleazy as hell, the perfect person to play that. The cause of death was cardiac arrest. He unfortunately died of a heart attack. He lived a goddamn life though, 82 years young. And I want you to take you really through, he sang alongside Ask What I Am alongside Dolly Parton in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas in 1983. Despite much success in 1996, he filed for bankruptcy due in part to an extravagant lifestyle, a divorce from Lonnie Anderson, and failed investments in some Florida restaurant chains. The filing was under Chapter 11, from which Reynolds emerged 2 years later. So he called bankruptcy in 1996, and that's when he had his breakout roles again. He was in Our Man Flint, Cannonball Run. He voiced Avery Carrington in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Did a lot of voiceover roles. He was in Without a Paddle, which is kind of a Deliverance style movie, as he does like a little cameo. And he was also in the remake of The Longest Yard in The Dukes of Hazzard. And he also received a critical acclaim for performance in The Last Movie Star. And he was also, and this is why I'm kind of really, really sad about the whole thing, he was going to be in Quentin Tarantino's film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where different people from history and Hollywood prominent figures would be playing other prominent figures, and it was a shame that we don't get to see Burt Reynolds. And his personal life, he hung out with Johnny Carson, James Hampton, Dom DeLuise, Jerry Reed, Charles Nelson Riley, Tammy Wynette, Lucy Arnaz, Adrienne Barbeau. If anyone used to watch C-Lab 2021, Adrienne Barbeau, but Tawny Little, Dinah Shore, and Chris Evert. Reynolds was married to Judy Kane from 1963 to 1965, to Lonnie Anderson from 1988 to 1993, and he had a relationship with Sally Fields. He was a bit of a player in the days, and he lost 30 pounds from not eating, and he went to an addiction back in 2009, and he had a quintuple heart bypass in February 2010, and it seems as if he was going back into bankruptcy. He'd been an Archer a few times. If we look at his filmography here, it's just a who's who. I mean, it's award after award after award after award after award for many of the films that he was in. I mean, that period of time, just after he came out of bankruptcy, 1997 to 1998, for Boogie Nights, he was killing it. He had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it's Burt Reynolds, man. It's Burt freaking Reynolds, and I'd like to, if I could. Oh, the chat's working. Oh, fantastic! The chat's actually working in there. Hello there. How you doing? Show your face. Oh, we've got actual chat in here. How you doing? Hello there, everyone. Show your face, Fowl. Where's Black? Burt died. Yeah. Hello, Amir. And we got very good. Thank you. Very good. You bear old. You know when your expiration date. You bear old. When's your expiration date? Amir. Show your face. Foul out. Overthrow the people. Foul. Thank you very much for joining in the discussion. But yeah, you can see your messages in the chat now. So if you want to say anything in the chat, you can do, and it'll pop up on there. And whatever thing you're using, we're going live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Whichever one of those things that you're using, you can see the whole conversation happening here, where it will relay all of the stuff out. It's working. So yeah, and Burt Reynolds, one of my all-time favorite actors in just the way he was, his mustache. His mustache is a classic Pakistani mustache, and I mean, it's kind of like, do you have the Burt Reynolds or do you have the Chuckle Brother? That's what happens in the Pakistani and Asian subcontinent. What do you have a Burt Reynolds mustache? I've noticed a lot of Asian men respect men with mustaches. So yeah, and as I said, I absolutely love Burt Reynolds. I'm really sad that he isn't going to be a part of that Quentin Tarantino movie. Looking into his life now, I didn't realize that he was so poor. He's like the Ric Flair of Hollywood, and I hope that I'm not doing this same thing in the next week or so. I was reading that he suffered from heart problems and health problems over the past few years. But goddamn Reynolds, there's an infamous picture of him almost with his balls out, and that's what we're going to show now, because that's the one thing that I feel like is a fitting tribute to a Mr. Burt Reynolds. So when I search for Burt Reynolds, there are obviously quite a lot of photos. There's one in particular, which I'm going to show you. And here we go. Let's see if we can show a classier version. Yeah, all right. And if you don't know, Burt Reynolds did a nude centerfold. And let's see, Ryan Reynolds put it out. Let's see. And oh, there it is. Yeah, so let's just show you. Let's show you all what Mr. Ryan Reynolds thought of and why we have that Deadpool picture. And it's because of this picture. It's tasteful. I feel like it's tasteful enough for YouTube. But when you think of Burt Reynolds, think of this. Think of that. And I'm very, very happy about that. So anyway, that's Burt Reynolds. So let's move on to the next big piece of news which has happened tonight, which I feel like, for number one, R.I.P. R.I.P. Rest in peace, Burt Reynolds. Rest up there in the sky with all your hoes and just do what you got to do. Now, this normally would be where I say in other news, but today, as I said, big news happening all over the shop. So, Alex Jones banned from Twitter. Big news story. Big news story. So, I can't believe that this happened. I was really, really surprised. I didn't think that they'd have the balls to do it. I just didn't think it. But this story is fresh, hot off the presses. 20 minutes old. 20 minutes old. It's very young. It's very young. Now, Twitter banned. So I'm just gonna whack this over so you can see the article that I'm pulling from. So this is the BBC news. Twitter bans Alex Jones and Infowars for abusive behaviour. Alex Jones is currently being sued for defamation. Now, Alex Jones, it might say in here, Twitter says it has permanently suspended the accounts of Alex Jones and his Infowars website. It made the move after a number of tweets that violated Twitter's abusive behaviour policy. The company said a number of tech giants, including YouTube and Facebook, deleted the right-wing conspiracy theorist content last month, citing hate speech. The radio host is best known for spreading unsubstantiated allegations about tragic events, including 9/11. He's currently being sued for defamation by the parents of 2 children killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook elementary school shooting, which he has repeatedly claimed was a giant hoax. 20 children under the age of 7 and 6 adults died in the attack. Twitter said the ban was a result of new reports of tweets and videos posted yesterday that violate our abusive behaviour policy, in addition to the account's past violations. It added that it does not typically comment on enforcement actions against individual accounts, but was open about this action given the broad interest in this case. Mr. Jones has accused media platforms of unfair censorship of his accounts. They're trying to silence us, damn it! Wake up, sheeple! That's my Alex Jones. Twitter had come under criticism last month when it refused to ban Infowars and Alex Jones from its platform despite YouTube, Facebook, Apple and Spotify deleting his content. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said at the time this was because the accounts had not violated the platform's rules, but he vowed to suspend them if they ever did so. What had Jones said on Twitter? Mr. Jones mostly uses his Twitter account to share content and videos from InfoWars with his 850,000 followers and promotes conspiracy theories against liberals, Muslims, and migrants. In July, he said that Democrats plan to launch a civil war on 4th of July or US Independence Day. Last year, he tweeted that Muslims in England were demanding that the Queen either convert to Islam or leave the country. However, the CNN clip InfoWars based his article on dates back to 2009 and features a group led by radical preacher Anjem Chowdhury, who by 2017 was already serving a 5.5-year sentence for inviting support for the Islamic State group ISIS. He had previously said that transgenderism is a CIA plan to depopulate humanity and that the normalization of mental illness is an evil pedophile plot to sexualize and destroy children. In 2013, he described then-President Barack Obama as the global head of Al-Qaeda. Hello there, Ron. How you doing? And later accused him of arming ISIS. So that's Alex Jones. He's the guy in the top. Jack Dorsey is the guy here. Now, over the past few days, Jack Dorsey has been at the committee led by Donald Trump, presidential committee, to talk about social media and its alleged biases and leanings and stuff. Now, during that time, there were loads and loads of protests. Alex Jones was literally outside of the courthouse as it was happening. And then, I'm guessing, if you make that much noise and you literally poke the bear of the one social media platform that was allowing you to exist, then you're gonna get, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. And that's what's happened. Alex Jones has had the officialist bad time today. And with that, he is now no longer, and I'm going to quickly go to his Twitter, because I believe that I follow him on Twitter because he might be a little bit, out there. But some of his stuff is pretty funny. So let's go Alex Jones, because I searched for Alex Jones earlier on Twitter, and it's just like, we've got CNN money, Alex Jones quotes, Miss Alex Jones. Now this is a shame, yeah. So I'm just gonna show you this. So in the UK, we have a show called The One Show, and there's a lady called Alex Jones. So she's a lady who is not a crazy, and she's a presenter of The One Show. Now, Alex Jones, is not the same Alex Jones, but obviously people do get her confused. And just bear this in mind, when you search for Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist, you've got Alex Jones, the light entertainment presenter, as well, just in the same area. Now, let's see if I can find Twitter safety. There we go. Today, InfoWars, Twitter held out in a string of now deleted tweets. Twitter CEO explained why he wouldn't ban Alex Jones, and now that he's banned him, this Twitter safety today. And let's see if we can go to the account and let's see what we get. Account suspended. Account suspended. This account has been suspended. We can learn about why. Nope, we'll just go straight back to this. Today, we permanently suspended real Alex Jones and InfoWars. And if we just click here, as I said, this is breaking news. Another account that has been suspended. Let's go back to the story. We took this action based on new reports of tweets and videos posted yesterday that violate our abusive behavior policy. In addition to the account's past violations, you may not engage in the targeted harassment of someone or incite other people to do so. We consider abusive behavior an attempt to harass. As we continue to increase transparency around our rules and enforcement actions, we want to be open about this action given the broad interest in this case. We do not typically comment on enforcement actions we take against the individual accounts for their privacy. We will continue to evaluate reports we receive regarding other accounts potentially associated with real Alex Jones or InfoWars, and will take action if the content that violates our rules is reported if other accounts were utilized in an attempt to circumvent their ban. Jones had travelled to Washington, D.C. Wednesday to attend a congressional hearing that included testimony by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. On the sidelines of the hearings, Jones harassed CNN's Oliver Darcy during an InfoWars live stream on Twitter's Periscope service, according to a BuzzFeed report. Wait, so does this mean Twitter banned him for doing something he did outside of Twitter? It was all fine until yesterday when @Jack was personally accosted, I guess. Interesting. Now, remember that this was happening on Periscope. Oh, nice. This is happening on Periscope. Now, obviously, some of you are watching me on Periscope right now, and thank you very much for all of you that are, and thank you for all of you that are watching from the YouTubes and the Twitch and all that. But Alex Jones has been now banned, well, suspended. None of his tweets can be shown. When this happened on Facebook, he decided to utilize his other accounts to start posting things that he was doing, and that's when Facebook just went no. And if he does that on Twitter, like, he's not getting his account back. But I believe they might allow this news cycle to go over. But when you go and attack the person that's allowing you to have a platform, when you literally bite the hand that feeds you, it's a bit stupid. And that was his only voice let out, and I don't really understand why he did that. So that was really stupid. He has no one to blame but himself for this. Doing it through Periscope as well, which is Twitter's live streaming service, then you're basically trying to get around the rules of it anyway. It's not cool. He deserved it, and I'm very, very sorry for anybody out there that's a massive Alex Jones fan, but there's a certain point when you start to fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone's out to get me, so let me attack first. Everyone's out to get me. Oh no, these people have banned me. Everyone's out to get me. They've banned me. You're out to get me, but you haven't banned me yet. I'll ban you. I'm banned. You're done. And I don't know where he goes from this. I've read reports that he has the traffic to his website has severely diminished. I can kind of believe that, and that he has become a walking meme. And that's just life, isn't it? And I'm very, very, it's very sad that it's happened, but what can you do? What can you do? But just breaking news: Alex Jones banned for Twitter. And I said my personal opinion on this, because I want to give you my little editorial on this, is that I'm surprised he lasted for as long as he did. And my personal viewpoint of what went down was, if he didn't go outside of it, that place, and start to harass people, because his interview style is a very confrontational. He's a snake oil salesman. Ron Lowe, that he is. And I mean, I did a whole show talking about how, he's selling you I mean, let's just quickly go to his website, and that just kind of says it all. I mean, obviously, right now, Alex Jones is heading for the hills. So let's just go to InfoWars right now, and obviously this is going to be there. But let's just have a look. So this is the man that he says that he's his website's fine. Breaking news: Alex Jones banned for Twitter. Let's see what InfoWars has to say about this. This is what happens when you confront your censor. Alex Jones was permanently banned from Twitter Thursday afternoon, a day after he faces accusers in Washington, D.C. who were lobbying to have him silenced online. Who was lobbying to have him? Who? I don't No. That is delusional behavior. They were not... Jack Dorsey was there to say, you know what, we're the only platform which are agnostic in our belief and our political leanings, and we're saying anyone can be here, just don't violate the intrinsic rules that we have. And it's another situation, kind of what happened with YouTube, where they say, all right, there are no rules, but there's a framework. Then someone just goes, well, screw it, I'll do whatever I want. Then they go, all right, now you all have rules. So now you all aren't allowed to do X, Y, Z. Why is that? Because that idiot did X, Y, Z. That idiot only did X, yeah, but now we think, well, while we're making these rules up, we might as well go Y, Z. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's almost like a problem reaction solution, which is quite ironic thinking about the person that it is. The problem is that, ooh, Twitter might be banning us. The reaction is, ooh, let's go and harass them outside of a freedom of speech freaking lobby. It was a lobby where the social media platforms are saying, we allow a lot, don't take our freedom away. And they were out there saying, you've taken our freedom away. I'm like, what? And because of that, the reaction being, and then the reaction, the problem in this, it's an ironic situation, but it's almost like he is a shill false flag operative, because, and I'm saying this within his work, his news speak, but he's created a problem, which is people online have too much of a voice. The reaction is that everything slowly starts to get smaller in the sense of what you can say, what the algorithm says is wrong, and who can like, and how people can block what you're doing. Like, I've got a video which I did yesterday, the day before, which is blocked in 278 countries. That's life. That's just life. Yeah, and I don't care about that. I care about the fact that I'm allowed to put out this content. So I'm happy to talk about my corporate overlords, yeah, like the Twitters and stuff, but I'm not going to go to their face and go, you're censoring me. If it happens, then I just go, well, unfortunately, that behavior has not been rewarded because that is not positive reinforcement. And I just learn, and we try to figure it out along the way. But this stupidness, but let's see how it's been spun over there. So as I said, they're talking about how this is taking away their rights, and this is, hello there, Scuba Steve, how this is taking away their rights and how this is taking away everything else. So let's go back to the spin, which is coming from Alex Jones's website. And a full statement from Alex Jones coming soon. Twitter blocks Jones permanently. Alex Jones confronts the architect of deplatforming conservatives, Oliver Darcy. Watch the encounter that started it all. Let's see if we can see it. Oh wait, you know what? Yeah, Real Video, the pro-liberty network. Obviously. Let's have a little watch ski. Let's see how what they're saying happened.
Video channel for free at real.video.
You're the definition of a fraud. You are a charlatan that goes around lying about people to destroy the First Amendment.
I haven't lied about anyone, Alex.
Yes, you are.
Now, let's just quickly pause that right there and then. So, and as I said, this is why Twitter got involved. As you can see, he has 3 phones there, all live streaming to Periscope at there and then, so he can switch between the cameras when he needs to using Periscope Producer. Great setup, actually. I mean, I just want to say, great setup, Alex. I mean, that is an amazing setup. It looks great. You've got nice little gorilla cams there, so everything's steady cam. You can literally put your camera in anyone's face right there and then. Now let's look at this man, Oliver Darcy, who seems to be so happy that this is going on.
You are a congenital liar. And CNN is a giant fraud and hated the world over.
All right.
So what does he say? What does this absolute vile human being that is taking away our freedoms and everything? He's just, yeah, he's vile, he's a congenital liar. What does he say to all of this?
None of what you're saying is true.
No, yes it is.
You
are a liar. You think you can gaslight people and call for censorship and then a day later say you aren't? We've got all your statements, we've got everything. We've got you all over the place, lobbying to have media taken down.
That's not true.
Lobbying to shut people down.
That's not true.
Asking people why they're not shut down.
That's not true.
Yes, and engaging in all that. It's all true. We have all the clips of you saying it.
Okay.
Listen, everybody knows who you are. Look at you. You and Stelter get force-fed by Twitter. You get like 100 retweets because CNN's a joke.
So as I said, yeah, that is not reporting. That is just shouting at someone your opinion and forcing your opinion down their throat almost. Maybe like CNN does, according to you. So why are you so surprised that something that you've put out where Twitter can obviously see all of their logos, their infrastructure being used to perpetuate an accusation which has no real merit just yet, but check out later on for our merit. And why? Just why? And that's something that, I mean, it's a 14-minute video, yeah. This is, as I said, this is brand spanking new.
CNN's like government cheese. It literally is just force-fed to everyone everywhere. Everyone's sick of it.
Now, sorry, I just want to, so let's just see their amazing show, yeah. As I said, I want to show you this because production values aren't too bad.
Oh my God. Look at this right here. The guy that goes around policing and calling for censorship and then claims that Trump's wrong, there's no censorship of conservatives or patriots. You are incredibly shameful.
How are you doing, Alex?
You're just a, look at you, you are literally an...
Let's just skip him in a bit. Let's see what else this absolute genius has to say. So we've got buffering, because obviously the Alex Jones website.
I and many other people in the conservative movement has helped this guy's career along, but now he's.
Let's see if we can just get him in, because there's a point where he basically starts to attack. I said, there's no, there's no fact.
None of what you're saying is true.
No, yes, it is. You are a liar. You think you.
Just bear in mind, yeah, and I just want to say that showed you the beginning of what happened, the altercation that got him fired from Twitter. I'm sorry, got him banned from Twitter. But there's 6.5 minutes of him just going, "You're a liar, you're 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 a liar." So let's see what happens now, because this takes us to that point that was at the beginning of the video.
You can gaslight people and call for censorship, and then a days.
Oh, great infrastructure, Alex Jones. Looks like you can afford like the tin
New York
foil
Times
hat.
lying about WMDs. The New York Times lying about WMDs and killing millions.
Now look how happy he is, and there's a woman over here taking a picture of him going, "Oh, this is going to win me some money."
But you don't really care about kids. You care about your fake moral high ground. And gun owners are sick of being blamed for what other people on Prozac do who get guns illegally. So that's all you got. And you're going to fail. Just the dishonor and the word rat.
What do you hope to accomplish here?
I'm just showing people just the servile nature of the bottom of the barrel these dying news corporations have to dredge up from the front lines to attack the First Amendment. You're the equivalent of like in my view, you're the equivalent of like the Hitler Youth being put on the front line to stop the advance of the Allies.
So you came here to attack the media?
You're not the media. You are fake news. You are the criminal news network. You engage in racketeering.
Wow, that's going on a t-shirt. The Criminal News Network. Sorry, I'm not even letting you guys see this. It's amazing. Like, it's just absolutely amazing.
Trying to shut down real news, real information. You engage in lying and fraud to your audience on a premeditated, continual basis. You got some damn evil eyes, son. Look at it. Want to say something to him, Harrison? Look at those eyes right there. Look at those eyes right there. Look at those eyes right there. Look at those eyes right there.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I can't like not. But oh my god, doesn't he have some evil eyes? Hello there, person from potentially Japan. How you doing? And he is a snake oil salesman, and I feel like we've given him too much time tonight, but I wanted to make sure that we've given each of these guys about 15 minutes.
That's what wants to run. Why aren't you?
So let's just skip through. So this is what they're saying. They have the full footage of what happened. Luckily, Alex Jones, like most conspiracy theorists, will film everything just in case that anything goes.
Offensive violence. And it's the left calling for it everywhere. You support Antifa?
What's that?
You support Antifa?
I'm sorry.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know what it is.
swore to Antifa?
Do you support Antifa?
I don't support violence, Alex.
Oh, but CNN's had pieces saying Antifa's good.
Oh, there we go.
You just wanted.
So while they wait to see.
You missed it. You were too busy yelling at me.
Well, when you got anything anyways.
What was that?
When you got anything anyways. Already talked to him earlier. Oh, if I could rig the playing field and shut everybody else down, I might be a real boy someday. If I could get the...
Let me just show you. So when something's actually happening, when like Garci's coming, they miss it because they're too busy shouting at this guy. But anyway.
What was that?
You support Antifa.
I'm sorry.
He doesn't know. He does.
Criminal News Network. I love it. And I can literally see Donald Trump here sitting on
ligaments while also supporting your body's.
Oh yeah, don't worry. And also, yeah, the ultimate snake oil salesman. Because if you're worried about any of these things, make sure you got InfoWars.
Bone broth, one of the most popular health foods on the planet.
The best bone broth you can get on the whole planet.
Built with more than 7 different superfoods and crucial compounds, Ultimate Bone Broth will help support your healthy muscles, digestion, tendons, and ligaments, while also supporting your body's fight against free radicals. This incredible chicken bone broth formula contains time-tested ingredients such as turmeric root, chaga mushroom, goji berry powder, bee pollen, and alfalfa herb powder to support your body. It's time to experience what Ultimate Bone Broth can do for you. Get a bottle of the all-new version of a fan-favorite product today at InfoWarsStore.com.
Launch your own video channel for free at Real.video.
Yeah, if you need to do anything else, go to realvideo.com. So that's enough of Alex Jones. But as you can see, he has spun this story out into a way where it's not his fault. It's not his fault. But today we have 2 big stories. Alex Jones banned from Twitter, and also Burt Reynolds unfortunately passes away. 2 legends taken in their prime. Now, enough of this. Let's go back to our regularly scheduled in other news. So, in other news today, we have. Oh, can I wonder? Can I, if I put this on? Oh, in other news, what if I copy you and then pop you in here? Would that work? Would we be? Oh, I think we are. In other news with chat. Now, in other news today, I've got quite a few stories I wanted to quickly go through, and we're going to spin through them in a bit of a speedier time. As I said, this show is a living, breathing show, and as I work it out, we will find out what to do. And if you like, as I said, if you like what you see so far, and you'd like to help support the channel, then you can do the easiest way to do it is to go to fowloriginal.com. When you get to fowloriginal.com, you get to see my big old bird face, and then you can go to support the channel. When you go to support the channel, you can become a Patreon. You can go to streamlabs.com/fowloriginalwrestling, or you can donate to the channel. If you go to donate, you click that little button, and you get PayPal. And shout out again if you're still watching. People from Newsround potentially. That'd be quite funny actually. Anyway, $5. I didn't think anyone would. $5 and you can make a monthly donation if you want. Obviously, if you want to give me $5, if you want to give me however much you feel that you can afford. If you can give me a note there like, thanks, buddy, and I'll be all like, you're very welcome. And let me know your chat name and where you've come from when you give me that donation. And as I said, you can log in with PayPal. You can donate with a credit card, debit card as well. And as I wanted to say, thank you to anyone who already has. And I will be shouting you guys out on a regular basis because I love yous all. But in other news, we have the first story, which, as I said, these are a little bit quick fire. Asda ends shoppers' price guarantee scheme. Supermarket giant Asda is to end a scheme which refunded shoppers if the items they bought cost more in rival stores. The Asda price guarantee was launched in 2010, promising a basket of shopping at the chain would be 10% cheaper than at UK's other large grocery chains. If not, Asda would offer customers a voucher worth the difference in price. Rival Tesco dropped its brand guarantee scheme in June, while Sainsbury's ended its brand match program in 2016. The Asda price guarantee will come to an end on 3rd of October, and shoppers will have 28 days from then to redeem any remaining coupons. The company said the scheme was no longer popular. Customers have more price information at their fingertips than ever, and they vote with their feet if they feel a retailer is off the mark. Today, the Asda price guarantee, while still the ironclad promise it always was, become less and less relevant to customers, with less than 1% of customers using it. Asda said it invested more than £100 million in cutting prices over the last 12 months. It says it plans another series of cuts next month. The UK so-called Big Four supermarket groups, including fourth place Morrison's, have been under increasing price pressure from German discounters Aldi and Lidl. Asda, which is owned by US parent Walmart, has agreed to a takeover by bigger rival Sainsbury's, which is set to pay £7.3 billion for the brand. The two firms have said the combination of the two companies would see prices lowered by 10% on a range of everyday items. In August, the UK Competition Watchdog launched an investigation into the proposed Sainsbury's-Asda merger. Competition and Markets Authority is looking into whether the deal would mean less customer choice, higher prices, or worse service. Now, as someone that loves a bargain, brown skin, then I love the fact that the price guarantee existed at one point. I didn't really ever use it because, as they said, I just went, well, it's cheaper at Tesco, I'll go to Tesco's. It's cheaper, I'll go to Morrison's. I have specific things that I go to the specific shops for. If I want a make your own pizza, I will tend to go to Asda actually, because they do really good make your own pizzas. But Tesco are no slouches on that. It's just it's hard for me to get to the Tesco near me. So if an Asda popped up where I live, then I would go to the Asda, and I always try and go to Asda. But this price guarantee thing, it's something which came in where a lot of these companies were saying that they had no money, and that it's really, really hard, and it's cutthroat industry as it is, that giving them consumer any excuse to try and take loopholes. A lot of this is patching loopholes that already exist, because people were able to find prices on particular items which had a massive wealth in the price gap, and they were able to take advantage of that. And some people were able to pay nothing for their Asda price shopping for almost a year on just the basis. And I saw this on Money Supermarket, able to just literally roll them round. So, you know, they've taken a loophole out and they need to cut as much as they can. But, you know, that's Asda price. That's a UK reference for anyone that may know it. We also have, in other news, when I could figure out how to open the next This is going on from a story that, in other news, story that we've been kind of covering over the past few weeks. Colleen Nolan cancels all work after online trolling. Colleen Nolan pulled out of Loose Women on Thursday, saying she was still very upset over the row. Colleen Nolan has said that she's cancelling all her work commitments following her on-screen row with Kim Woodburn on Loose Women. Ofcom received more than 7,000 complaints about the episode, with viewers accusing Nolan and other panellists of bullying Woodburn. Nolan will not appear on Loose Women until further notice, and her solo tour, Never Too Late, is being postponed. A statement on her Twitter account said she is devastated to let people down, but she's not strong enough to withstand constant and unfounded online abuse. And we'll just read out her tweet. An announcement from Colleen tour team. Following the constant online bullying, trolling and misrepresentation of her words, actions and reactions, it is with sad regret that Colleen is taking an immediate hiatus from all her current commitments, including Loose Women, and postponing her Never Too Late solo concert tour. Colleen has spent 50 years in show business and 18 years as one of the most loved members of the Loose Women panel, and has never been subjected to such a horrifying torrent of online abuse or such a heartbreaking attack on her reputation. Colleen is devastated to let her supporters and fans down, but is currently not strong enough to withstand this constant and unfounded online abuse, so she will be taking time out and spending it with her children and family where she feels loved and respected. She sends her love to everyone who has supported her and knows she really is and plans to return when she feels stronger. So, wow. Just wow. And I mean, this is, I guess, has been the almost like the theme of the past few weeks. Celebrity Big Brother has caused a lot of issues here in the UK. I mean, the Roxanne Pallet stuff which happened, and the Kim Woodburn, which we did feature last week. The news cycle's a lot longer, and it's just all the complaints. But let's continue this story. The statement, she said there was a campaign. Well, there we go. Nolan already dropped out of an appearance on Thursday's Loose Women, writing on Twitter that she was still very upset about everything that's happened. When she appeared on Tuesdays this morning to talk about the tour, Nolan cried when she was asked about the argument. She said there was a campaign to get her fired from the show and that she'd been sent revolting messages. Now, we did look through the video the other day, so I'm not really going to revisit that. Woodburn had been invited on Loose Women to reconcile with Nolan. However, it ended in a row, and Woodburn became tearful and stormed off set after clashing with a panel. Nolan said the row was ugly, unpleasant and upsetting, adding that she wished she could turn back time and undo it. But she said, "Anyone that knows me knows I'm not a bully. That would be the most hurtful thing people could call me." Thursday's statement says she has experienced constant online bullying, and she sends her love, and that's just a tweet. Now, that's just insane that, I guess, when it comes down to it, Kim Woodburn was able to achieve everything she wanted to. She was able to achieve her notoriety and able to get an alleged bully from her... Hello there, Nias, how you doing? From her perch, and it's crazy. It's craziness. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next story. In other news, and I feel like this is a big enough story to talk about, and it's a North Korean spy charged over NHS cyber attack. Now, this story, just realised I need to find the Metro. Where did I put the Metro? Anyway, North Korean spy charged over NHS cyber attack. The US and UK said in December that North Korea was responsible for the malware attack. Now, this is something, again, one of those stories I wanted to talk about that seem to almost be pushed out of the current agenda. And as I said, we're leaving this quite late, but I wanted to talk about it, which is in 2017, there was a massive cyber attack which happened, malware attack which happened within the NHS, a lot of public services, the councils, government bodies and everything. And it was linked to the Lazarus Group. Now, this was 2017, and it happened over a weekend. NHS were unable to get into any of the computer systems and help anyone, so they were using pen and paper. And the US Department of Justice alleged the North Korean-backed cyber group had caused major damage. Now, the hacking collective, the Lazarus Group, were also blamed for the hack on Sony Pictures in 2014, which gave us the early version of the interview and also all the Sony emails, which was insane. And the scale and scope of the cybercrimes alleged by the complaint is staggering and offensive to all those who respect the rule of law and the cyber norms accepted by responsible nations. The complaint alleges that the North Korean government, through a state-sponsored group, robbed a central bank, and citizens of other nations retaliated against free speech in order to chill it half a world world away and created disruptive malware that indiscriminately affected victims in more than 150 other countries, causing hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of damage. North Korea routinely denies being involved in hacks attributed to them, and this is Mr. Park. Mr. Park is charged with one count of conspiracy to commit computer fraud and abuse and wire fraud. Prosecutors said Mr. Park was believed to be in North Korea. North Korea won't be handing this guy over anytime soon, said Martin Williams. So it likely won't mean much on that level, but it is a symbolic step for the US government to take. It helps put meat on the bones of the numerous reports that said North Korea was responsible, and a relatively rare move for the US government. Fake emails, the attribution of cyber attacks is often very difficult. The 180-page complaint goes into detail about why US prosecutors believe he was involved. The document includes screenshots of fake emails designed to look like legitimate notes from Facebook, prompting users to simply log in again to verify an account. Following the link would bring the victim to a spoof site designed to covertly collect their credentials. And another one was an email from a college student seeking to send her resume to a Sony Pictures executive. The accompanying link brought the victim to a malicious site. Not all of the group's work was successful, however. The FBI said it has found evidence of failed attempt to gain access to defense contractor Lockheed Martin. British police assisted the FBI with its investigation. And as I wanted to say very, very briefly, what I want to say very, very briefly was that story, when it happened initially, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, hey Niels, how you doing? It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, it felt like there was more under the surface there. And don't you think it's interesting that basically North Korea allegedly sent out a whole bunch of phishing attacks to several different companies, and sending that out, they were able to quite quickly, very, very quickly, just, I don't even know, like, the amount of different companies that tried to get a letter sent as a college student for a resume to, they know how to get into these systems. And as someone that works in IT myself, I know like craziness and the insanity that comes from how easy it is to take control of systems sometimes by just a quick email, or just like, people will click anything. If you get any normal person that works within like a big organization, yeah, they'll click the link first, then they'll tell you about it when stuff starts breaking. They'll click it instinctively, and that's the funniest part of it. Every single time they'll click it instinctively. But yeah, so that's some craziness that's going on there in the NHS. But isn't it interesting that a North Korean place have North Korea has been state sponsored, really, and it is state sponsored. But yeah, but the politician was stabbed over there over this. Now we also have this story, which I thought was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Probiotics labelled quite useless. Probiotics include yogurts that contain good bacteria. So we're talking about Yakult, and we're talking about Activia and stuff. The study is among the most detailed analyses of what happens when we consume probiotics. They are seen as healthy and good for the gut, but the results found they had little or no effect inside the body. The researchers said probiotics of the future would need tailoring to the needs of each individual. The team at the Weizmann Institute of Science made their own probiotic cocktail using 11 common good bacteria, including strains of Lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. It was given to 25 healthy volunteers for a month. They were sedated, and samples were surgically taken from multiple places in the stomach and small and large intestines. The researchers are looking to see where bacteria successfully colonized and whether they led to any changes in the activity of the gut. The results in the journal Cell showed in half of the cases the good bacteria went in the mouth and straight out the other end. In the rest, they lingered briefly before being crowded out by existing microbes. And trillions of bacteria cell the linings of our guts home, and everyone has a different mix. And it's here we go. He told the BBC probiotics have been around for a long time, and they're coming under more scrutiny. These are very innovative studies, but they are preliminary findings that need replicating. The gut has a natural property to stop colonization, as it usually blocks pathogens, and that is something we have to outmaneuver. And that's really scary as well, because once they get to a point where scientists can make you put some bacteria into it and it just starts to spread, that is asking for an amazing weapon of mass destruction. So let's hope that we can get good Activia soon, so that we can all be killed by people easily. Another quick story as well that I'd like to mention that I spotted today. Starbucks opens first outlet in Italy. Now this again blew my mind. this is like, and I was trying to think of an equivalent, and like there is no other equivalent. Like I can't think of anything else where this would. There's no like fish and chip shop that's owned by an American that would be put of it. Like I don't feel like there's any other nation where you take something in there. Like maybe it's like when Wagamama opened in Japan for the first. You know, like it's that, isn't it? It's like this is our national thing. What are you up to? So anyway, Starbucks opens the first outlet in Italy. It's taken more than 2 years to build, but on Friday, Starbucks will open its first Italian restaurant, and it's taken up residence in one of Milan's most historic locations. The company's Milan roastery goes far beyond the usual latte production line. The marble-floored store will offer a theatre of coffee roasting, brewing, and mixology, as well as cocktails, pizza, bread, and ice cream. Local businesses said they were not afraid of the competition and emphasised that high-quality coffee was already widely available in the region. The Federazione Italiana Pubblici Esercizi, FIPE, which represents the country's bar and restaurants, said Italy's 149,154 coffee outlets offered good value, charging an average of €1 for an espresso and €1.30 centimes, so £1.17 for a cappuccino. Starbucks said its Milan store was intended as an homage to Italy's coffee traditions. And you can see 115 different beverages from cold brew to cocktails. But while the materials and craftsmanship are locally sourced, the new store is emphatically part of the chain's global ambitions. About a third of a football pitch in size, it inhabits the historic Poste building near the cathedral in Piazza Cordusio, and it's the third of Starbucks' new concept roasteries. The first two are in Shanghai and Seattle. Traditional Italian coffee shops are designed for a quick pit stop where customers can knock back a mouthful of espresso without even having to stop to sit down. Starbucks is hoping to offer something different. Customers are invited to witness the bean to cup process, green coffee being poured out of burlap sacks, going through the roasting, reaching dramatic crescendo as a 6.5-meter bronze cask they're protesting unfolds like a blooming flower. Increased competition. The theatrics will attract a certain amount of attention, but when Starbucks opens furthermore low-key outlets in Italy, as it intends to later this year, they won't be without competition. While Costa, which Coca-Cola recently agreed to buy, which is crazy news as well, has not yet ventured into the country, there are local Italian chains. Starbucks says Milan will be the crown jewel of its global operations, and there's a wood-fired oven for breads, pastries, and pizzas. And as you can see, it's an amazing looking building. It's an amazing looking like showroom almost. Starbucks, and it says an analyst at market research firm Mintel, Johnny Forsyth, said Starbucks could succeed in the country, given that both Domino's and McDonald's have managed to make inroads in the country. Domino's being the biggest one, you'd think. Mintel's researchers estimates the Italian coffee market worth $19.4 billion. Euros, 17.4 billion pounds last year, suggests 16 to 35-year-olds are open to American coffee style concepts such as flavored frappuccinos and cold brew, which are less common in Italy. And it's with respect. Since the first moment of inspiration 35 years ago to now being a daily part of millions of people's lives around the world, we bring with great respect to Italy, he said at the store's launch. And that's the former chief executive Howard Schultz. And he claimed it was drinking coffee in Milan more than 3 decades ago that prompted him to found Starbucks. And then it says that respect may not be reciprocated. Italians can be somewhat snobbish about coffee, according to psychologist Paolo Verginini, who drinks 10 espressos per day. Surprisingly, though, coffee drinking is a relatively young tradition in Italy. Before World War II, it was a luxury import for the wealthy elite. Most Italians struck to hot drinks made from toasted barley or chicory. Yeah. So, in other news, finally, before we move on to our last segment, this is a really interesting article on the BBC News website. New York Times Trump column, linguistic clues to the White House insider. We all have our own distinctive style of writing and speaking. Trying to hide those quirks is like trying to repress a part of our character. This style is what can help you identify an author from reading only one paragraph of their work. But what happens if the author doesn't want to be identified? The anonymous column, headlined "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration," which is an amazing read, please read it, said people working for the president were working to frustrate parts of his agenda to protect the country from his worst inclinations. And it was an amazing story. Now, a lot of it is that, and I want to kind of just give you the highlights and just basically get into the conclusions, which are that people believe that the person that this could be is Richard Pence, Michael Richard Pence, the vice president, and apparently he said it isn't, and so people really think it's Mike Pence, and I kind of think it might be as well. And if it is, then you're doing God's work, Mike Pence. Keep it up. Keep it up. Please protect us. Protect us. Look after us. We need you. We need you, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. Now, let's go to our last segment very briefly, which is Metro Moments. And quickly going to breeze through this because I think we spent a lot of time on Alex Jones tonight. So we've got on the front page of the Metro, Putin's hitmen on the streets. That's a story talking about the Novichok poisoners after Salisbury, and it being nerve agent, and the 2 Russians wanted for it. I think we're going to get a lot more with this story, so I'm going to kind of leave that until we get there. We've also got a beautiful page 3 here. It's not boobs. It's Rachel Bland, and just the whole page is kind of given to her, except for the McDonald's out at the bottom. Whole page is given to her, talking about her podcast and how she wants to continue and what it's meant to her. We then go into, again, the Novichok poisoners, and we also had some words from Boris Johnson talking about Jeremy Corbyn using Weasley language and responding to the latest claims of the Russian involvement. Former Foreign Secretary criticised the Labour leader for not going far enough in his remarks to the Commons. As Corbyn said, the opposition utterly condemns the appalling attacks, describing the use of military nerve agent on UK streets as an outrage and beyond reckless. He said the Russian government should be pursued to give advice. He offered support for further reasonable and effective actions, but Boris Johnson thinks that it wasn't enough. Theresa May said some MPs had previously questioned the involvement of the Russian state. I think it is incumbent on all those who were sceptical to recognise the evidence and recognise the involvement of the Russian state, condemn them wholeheartedly, he said. Now, let's get back to some funny old Metro stories. So, a prison officer, from Metro Bites, a prison officer admitted smuggling drugs and a mobile phone to work in juice cartons. And a mobile... Paul Heap, 43 of Liverpool, took heroin, crack cocaine and steroids worth £215,000 into Her Majesty's prison outcourse in June last year. The City's Crown Court heard he was jailed for 9 years. Wow. Easy come, easy go. Now, also have an amazing article which I saw this morning. The meat cheaters. The meat cheaters. I was a big meat eater. I was very interested on this one. So, one sample in 5 has traces of other animals, including beef, labelled ostrich. It's fantastic. 1 in 5 meat samples tested last year contained traces of other animals. Meat labelled as lamb was the most likely to include rogue elements, rogue meat, followed by beef and goat. In one case, ostrich meat contained only beef. Fantastic. That's why I buy mine from farmers markets and stuff, because it's like, I know that they probably kill the ostrich for me. Minced meat was found to be the most mislabeled product, but sausages, kebabs and restaurant curries were also affected. According to the Food Standards Agency, 145 out of 665 samples collected in England, Wales and Northern Ireland were partly or wholly made up of unspecified meat. Mystery meat. The watchdog said the levels were consistent with deliberate inclusion. So they'd be trying to cut that meat, the good meat, with some bad meat. Said the testing had targeted those businesses suspected of compliance issues. So they went to the people they already thought were guilty. Horse meat was not found in any sample because that stuff's expensive. 5 years ago, some supermarket beef products were found to contain horse. The figure, which came from a BBC Freedom of Information request to the FSA, showed that 73 of the contaminated samples came from retailers, including 3 supermarkets. 50 were from restaurants and 22 came from manufacturing or food processing plants. An FSA spokesman said the figures were not representative of the wider food industry, as they were a result of sampling by local councils that targeted businesses where meat substitution is more likely to occur, like takeaways, chippies, kebab houses. The number of unsatisfactory samples is a result of this targeted approach, where businesses which did not comply are sampled multiple times. He said, where problems are found, local authorities can consider appropriate actions. In other news, Metro moments. Flying squad, because I thought that was always hilarious. So basically, you're not getting your meat. You're not getting your meat. Even if you're buying stuff, you're probably not getting the amount of pork that you want in your sausage. Flying squads should be using old school tactics. Detectives may have to fall back on older methods to catch increasingly high-tech criminals, the head of Scotland Yard's flying squad has said. The ability to crack encrypted devices means investigators need to use tactics such as going undercover and using informants to catch thieves who sit behind computer screens, said Detective Chief Superintendent Mick Gallagher. As the squad marks its centenary, he warned against resigning former tactics and methods in the past. Sometimes it's often worth revisiting something that has worked very successfully. So for those who don't know Flying Squad, if you've heard of the Sweeney, and if you watch Life on Mars, that was Flying Squad. You come in and you knock people out, and then you get in there, you do, it's like Vice. It was like the UK's version of Miami Vice. And then they go in there undercover and then just crack some skulls, beat some women, and drink some beers and play some darts. And not really a man, so I don't really know manly things that they do. I'm just a human being. I also wanted to talk about this very briefly, but I feel like I haven't really got the time to give it its exact attention, but I do want to very briefly talk about it. Labour MPs back anti-Semitism rules and call for talks. Now, this is something I wanted to talk about yesterday, but I didn't really get time. And we're already coming close to the hour mark. Labour MPs yesterday voted to adopt an internationally recognised definition and example of anti-Semitism into party rules. How you doing, Pauline Mac? What up? Thank you for inviting your followers. Labour MPs yesterday voted to adopt an internationally recognised definition and example of anti-Semitism into party rules. The move to back the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's guidelines was carried by 205 votes to 8. Great news. It came after Shadow Attorney General Baroness Chakrabarti urged Jewish critics to come back into the room and discuss the party's approach to anti-Semitism. The party's ruling National Executive Committee agreed to adopt previously omitted examples on Tuesday with a statement that said the party will endure the changes do not in any way undermine freedom of expression on Israel or the rights of Palestinians. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn was criticised for his unsuccessful call for the committee to accept a clarification that describing Israel as racist should not be considered anti-Semitic. But speaking to BBC 4's Today programme, Baroness Chakrabarti denied senior Labour backbencher Dame Margaret Hodges' claim that Mr Corbyn had sullied the adoption of the IHRA definition by trying to amend it. I know. We will come back to that, Paul. We will come back to that. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, but yes, very sad day for film lovers. She said the NEC statement was about reassuring people that you can be a critic of Israel without being anti-Semitic. You just need to conduct your debate in a certain way. Dame Margaret had said Mr Corbyn sought a get-out clause that demonstrates a reluctance on his part to deal with the issue. The Board of Deputies of British Jews tweeted Mr Corbyn's statement was of great concern and it would undermine the spirit of the attempt to tackle anti-Semitism. It added that there need to be answers to the many questions it raises. Meanwhile, Shadow Chancellor John MacDonald said Dame Margaret's comments that Labour under Mr Corbyn had made Jews feel isolated had really upset him, and the party's anti-Semitism row had hit us to the core. I don't want to live in a society where synagogues are attacked. Exactly. The synagogues are attacked, or with Jewish graveyards are daubed with swastikas, he said to the news. He told the Statesman. This story in particular, I'm very, I feel very close to, because I'm not Jewish, but I am of a minority, and I don't know where allowing certain things to be allowed to be said are not allowed to be said. Anti-Semitism is something which is rife throughout society. Throughout the Asian community, anti-Semitism is very, very apparent, and it's hard to put a handle on what that is and to say this is the issue. This is, if you don't say this, and it is very much not what you say, but exactly how you say it. And I think a lot of, as we've seen within the United States, a lot of I can't think of the exact best way to phrase it, but the dark underbelly of society, which is very easily malleable by certain people and interest groups, can easily whip these people into a frenzy. And that's a generalization, but there are certain hot button topics that you can quite easily throw into an argument to make people sway your way in an emotional way. And anti-Semitism at its core is a hatred and insecurity of not a race of people, because they're all the human race, but a certain group of people that came from a certain part of the world. And it will always be there. Xenophobia will always exist. And I don't know if having talks about it is really a good idea. I feel like it's a waste of taxpayer money. In all honesty, I feel like it's a waste of taxpayer. I think it's good that there is a definition there now where you can't say certain things and there is a clear cut guidelines. Exactly, that underbelly is made up of all races. That underbelly is, as I'm saying, that underbelly, the dark underbelly, which potentially is anti-Semitic, isn't just Asian people, isn't just white people, isn't just Chinese people, isn't just Japanese people, isn't just European people or South Americans or whatever. Anti-Semitism is almost within the fibre of the core of a lot of entertainment. And I mean, Alex Jones, and we spoke about him earlier on, Alex Jones bases a lot of what he talks about with the elite. I mean, that's just an old world way of rewrapping the anti-Semitism that's been at the core of society for a very, very, very long time, saying that these people have more than us. This is the reason. If we just attack them, we can have the things that they have, or we can blame them for anything that's going on. I mean, when it comes down to it, anti-Semitism does work as a political tool. Look at what Hitler did. I mean, I'm not praising the man in any way, shape or form, but the way that he got people to do what he wanted to do was said, hey, these group of people, they're all doing all right. Why aren't you doing all right? It's obviously their fault. And then by saying that, that can be attributed to any group of people. And we saw the same thing happen with Donald Trump when he got into power and he employed the same kind of tactics. Anti-Semitism was implied, but it wasn't exact. Over here in the UK, though, it doesn't, the nuance is there a lot more than it is in the US. And I feel like a lot of issues with Israel and Palestine, I don't really fully support a divided Middle East. It needs to be united, but I feel like there are loads of groups at the moment that Jones only wants to sell his wares under the guise of something else. Exactly, and we spoke about that before. Hello there, Ryoko Iti. Now, anyway, let's move on to the next story because, as I said, I wanted to touch upon that before we end for the week this week. Now, we've also got another story here from In Brief. A taser policewoman cleared of misconduct. This story really angered me. A police officer who tasered a race relations advisor she mistook for a wanted man has been cleared of misconduct. Let's just read that again. A police officer who tasered, and this is in the UK, who tasered a race relations advisor she mistook for a wanted man has been cleared of misconduct. So let's just quickly, just before I even read any of the rest of that story, what colour do you think this man was? I mean, I'm going to take a flying guess here, a wild guess, guessing he wasn't white. And let's just quickly read. Yes, it's a story where it's gone through the police complaints commission and stuff, but just the amount of column inches that have gone to this story. And this is a pretty big story. It was a big story recently. They were talking about like the actual case happening, but obviously not white. Acting Sergeant Claire Body and a colleague came across Judah Odunbi, 65. It's not a white name to me, is it? Walking his dog in Bristol on January 14th last year. So he was walking his dog. That's all he was doing. Walking his dog. 65-year-old man walking his dog. And mistook him for a man wanted by the police. Mr. Odunbi refused to give his identity, as is his right, but was, at times, aggressive and threatening before he was tasered even. Nice if it was tasered. A misconduct panel at Avon and Somerset Police Headquarters said. So a 65-year-old man was tasered by an acting sergeant, and because he was slightly aggressive and didn't want to give his name because he was walking his dog, and he's a race relations advisor who probably had to deal with the fact that he was telling the majority of the people that were listening to him, the police may come to speak to you, but you don't have to do this, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do this, and call them on it. He employed the same tactics that are totally legal, totally legitimate, totally within his rights, and he was tasered for it. If we gave the cops here a gun, would he have been shot? And then it would have been fine because he was slightly aggressive. But a 65-year-old man taking a taser hit? Is that what this country's really come to? Is that how afraid people are? Or is that xenophobia? Happened in Stratford, Avon and Somerset. Happened in Somerset, the sight of a black man, or Middle Eastern man, I mean, looking at the name, the Judah Odumbi, Middle Eastern man, is going to incite people to want to, but is that the place that we live in now? Is that my, what happened to my school? Now, as I said, I'm trying to quickly whip through the other thing. We're going to go to midnight tonight. Another quick story from the Guilty Pleasures section. A show that if you've not watched already and you haven't seen, then please watch it. Who is America? With Sacha Baron Cohen. Some amazing characters, amazing performances out of people. Bristol, yes, Bristol, Paul Emack. Bristol, my friend. Happened in Bristol. He's walking his dog in Bristol. Sacha Baron Cohen, as I said, Who's America? He's been lampooning like Trump supporters or like fake newsists and stuff. And this is an article where, I mean, I was watching it and I was like, how is he getting away with all this? Sacha Baron Cohen didn't show it on the GQ Awards red carpet last night, but he's being sued for $95 million. 74 million pounds. The 46-year-old attended the bash with actress wife Isla Fisher, 42, after controversial Alabama judge Roy Moore announced he was suing the comedian for going undercover and tricking him on TV show Who is America. In a segment of the Channel 4 parody program, Baron Cohen pretended to be an Israeli anti-terrorism expert, and I thought it was going to be this one. I kind of looked at all the other stuff he did, and I remember watching, I was like, this is what's going to get him. In this, he played an Israeli anti-terrorism expert. You have to watch this show. It's just amazing. Yeah. During the interview, he waved a paedophile detector device over Moore, which repeatedly went off. Moore, who narrowly lost a US Senate election race last year following underage sexual assault claims. Yeah, Roy, the kid's best friend. Yeah, exactly. Said he was suing Baron Cohen for defamation, fraud, and inflicting emotional distress. 71-year-old has denied all sexual assault allegations. Lawyers for Baron Cohen did not respond to reports about the lawsuit last night, which is what I loved about that show, was that everything in that show was, and it was amazing, but everything in that show was, the way that it was put together was, you'd have this big like character thing, but just before it you'd have like, these are headlines that have happened. Now we're going to basically try and interview this person. With Roy Moore in particular, they spoke a lot about like this show, and then he came on and then they said, we have this thing, great new technology. There are all these new technologies we have coming in a more near you. It's true. All these new technologies, and one of them is that paedophiles and sexual deviants emit a certain pheromone and a certain gland. The second that happens, Roy Moore starts sweating like hardcore, and it's like, oh, it can detect it from like a mile away, and then we can protect them from the paedophiles and we can scan them on the way in, and it's a great thing and it's great technology. Then he literally, and that's, you have to watch the segment, but then he just waves it over everyone. And it's amazing. He's like, not on me, you're not pervert, but because he's acting as a person who doesn't know any of the news, Roy Moore basically goes, I'm just leaving. And it's one of those where he just leaves straight away. Other people basically called him on it and went, you who are you, and left. But Roy Moore was a little bit more like, what's happening now. Almost finished with Metro Moment, and I think This is a funny story. But I'm the exact opposite of idiot in book, says Trump. Speedometer. Donald Trump is the exact opposite of the portrayal of him in the new book. Funny. And this is the last story that I wanted to talk about from the Metro, which is about Jeffrey Owens, from Till Roll to Thrill Roll for Job Shame Cosby Star. So, from the Cosby Show, this guy here, so we got it. He was someone took a picture of him on Twitter and put it up saying, "Can't believe that he's here working a till at a supermarket," and hashtag Jeffrey Owens. And so Tyler Perry then came in and said, hashtag Jeffrey Owens, I'm about to start shootings. OWN's the Oxygen, the Oprah Winfrey Network, #1 drama next week. Come join us. I have so respect for so much people who hustle between gigs, the measure of a true artist. Former Cosby Show star Jeffrey Owens has been offered a role in the TV crime drama after a photograph of him working as a supermarket cashier sparked a backlash. The 57-year-old who portrayed Elvin Thibodeau for 7 years was snapped ringing up groceries in Clifton, New Jersey by shopper Karma Lawrence. She was accused by indignant social media users of job shaming the actor by sharing the image, but her intervention could end up reviving his career as she was invited to appear in the Haves and Have-Nots on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Director Tyler Perry told him in a tweet that he's going to come join us. Owens, who had parts in Elementary, The Blacklist, and Divorce after global hit The Cosby Show ended in 1992, said he was devastated when the photo first began to draw attention. But he told Good Morning America, fortunately the shame part didn't last too long. He said he kept his store job quiet and he didn't want people in the acting world to think he was no longer pursuing the profession. But he added, there is no job that's better than another job. Every job is worthwhile. No one should feel sorry for me. I've had a career most actors would die for. Actress Halle Berry was among thousands of web users criticised Ms. Lawrence and Fox News, which picked up the story. The shopper regrets sharing the photo. Oh, it's been terrible, they write. Karma's a bitch. It's bad, she said. Now, her name was also Karma, if I can find it. Karma Lawrence. So I think that she wasn't apologising. She was just saying that I'm a bitch. Don't want to swear too much on the YouTubes. I like to keep this show clean. It's a family show. So that is going to be... I mean, I had some other Metro moments, but I don't really want to overgo to midnight. We don't want to go into extra time. So, as I said, thank you all very much for joining us for Fowl Originals News Round this week. We'll be coming back next week from... they would moan if it was on Wi-Fi. I want come back next week. As I said, today's stories. #1, if you want to help support the channel, you can go to, as I said, anything to help support the channel. All of your donations will help make this show a better show, and I'm already trying that at the moment. Go to fowloriginal.com. See my big old bird face there. You can go to support the channel. If you go to support the channel, you can become a Patreon. I'm going to be working on that Patreon over this weekend. Reelsies this time. You can also support the channel by going to Streamlabs, and you can also just click the donate button. If you click the donate button, it takes you to PayPal, where you can give me as much as you'd like. Give me $25, for example. You can also make this a monthly donation, and I'll get that in. You can buy me a cup of coffee every month on a rolling donation via your PayPal, and I'll get that monies to do a lot with the show. As I said, we'll talk about this on Sunday, but next week I'm going to be going to London town for the Wrestling Film Festival. You can write me a note, tell me who you are if you want to donate to the channel. You can also use your debit or credit card. All go through PayPal, so it's all safe, secure, and great for you. Now, thank you very much, Paulie Mac. Obviously not fake news, even though Niaz came in. Now, as I said, I'm going to leave you with today's stories that Burt Reynolds, Hollywood icon, is dead at 82 years old. R.I.P. Burt Reynolds, hashtag R.I.P. the Bandit. And the other big news story from tonight, which is Alex Jones banned from Twitter for hate speech and violating the rules set out by Twitter. Now, if you want to help support the channel and you can't donate because you don't have the monies, that's totally fine. What you can do to help me is to like, share, and subscribe this on the YouTubes. If you're watching on Twitch, please follow me on Twitch. If you're watching me on Periscope, thank you very much. You can also like and retweet me, and thank you for inviting followers, etc. Tell your friends. Go to fowloriginal.com and help me out. As I said, I've got the chat box working now, so your chat will be here. Be part of the discussion. And I don't really want to end with Alex Jones. I like to end with Burt Reynolds, actually. I feel like that's the better one. And I leave you with what we do every show, which is we end with something from the past. So I'd like to end with this really, which is I think probably the best way to end this channel. Sorry, tonight, which is that if I can find it. Oops. And I'm going to end it with this, because I think this is probably the best way to end today's show. Here we go. Normally, at the end of the week, we'll be back on Monday with the weekly wrestling. Back on Sunday with a weekly wrestling recap. We'll be back on Monday with. We're back on Monday with Newsround. That will be happening at 10:30 p.m. GMT. Twit banned. Why Twitter? Exactly. Alex Jones banned on Twitter because seems as if he was being a little bit too stupid with the person who the CEO of the company. Look into the beginning of this show. His fight with Jack Darcy was stupid, and I'm going to leave you with this, which I feel is probably apt. We'll talk as obviously as this is going on, but I'm going to leave you with my favorite conspiracy theorist, Mr. Mel Gibson.
When you're in love, you'll jump from the top of the Empire State screaming Geronimo the whole way down. I love her so bad, she wrecks me.
My name is Sutton. I'm with the Justice Department.
And yeah, this is how I feel that Alex Jones's life is sometimes in his mind. He's like, but yeah, Twitter
Jerry Fletcher has theories.
The whole Vietnam War was fought over a bet that Howard Hughes lost to Aristotle Onassis.
Some would call his theories crazy.
You're telling me that NASA is going to kill the President of the United States with an earthquake?
Not exactly the kind of thing a Secret Service agent can, just throw himself on top of.
He writes them in his newsletter.
This is the third issue this year.
it could literally just be for this.
He sends them out.
Look, I feel kind of naked back here. Could we get out of here?
Please don't tell me you're naked back there.
No, it's just a figure of speech. Could we go?
And she is the only one he trusts.
I've loved you since the first time I ever saw you.
Jerry, you don't love me.
I don't?
Now, one of his theories is true.
Can you prove any of this?
Absolutely not.
Only he doesn't know which one.
I must have hit a nerve with one of those articles in there.
But his enemies do.
This is the life of Alex Jones, and this is what he feels is happening. Now, if you are a fan of Alex Jones, I have no problem with you, no qualm with you whatsoever. I would like you to continue doing what you do. You are the best version of you, but at the same time, please watch this film if you haven't watched it before. They're going to talk about this being fake news and Hollywood trying to get people to believe that this is the way that conspiracy theories are, and they're nut jobs, and the whole movie is based on. This trailer is way better than the film actually is. The film is a lot more schizophrenic, but this film in particular, as I said, Alex Jones is the conspiracy theorist. This has been a Fowl Original. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Like, share, and subscribe, and you can also help by sharing and